If there's one place where a lot of people get stuck without even realizing it, it's that huge dairy aisle at the grocery store. You walk in just wanting to grab some kind of milk, but suddenly you're staring at a shelf packed with whole, skim, lactose-free, zero lactose, low-fat almond milk, oat milk, coconut milk, soy milk, and before you can even understand what each one is, that feeling hits. The feeling that you're probably choosing the wrong one. I remember once standing there with a basket in my hand, trying to decide quickly, but the more I read the labels, the more it felt like they were all promising the same thing with different words. And I know a lot of people go through that exact moment. The truth is, nobody ever sat down with us to explain which type of milk actually fits our daily routine. We just grew up grabbing whatever was always in the house without thinking much about it. But today, with so many options, that choice has turned into almost a puzzle. And that's when the doubt kicks in. Which one makes sense for my body? Which one helps with my goals? Which one won't leave me feeling bloated first thing in the morning? That's exactly what we're going to clear up together from here on. Once you understand the basics, everything starts to make sense. And if you're already enjoying this topic, make sure to leave your like. When you really think about it, it actually makes sense why this decision turned into a whole little drama. Back in the day, it was simple. There was just the regular boxed milk and that was it. But over time, brands started launching lighter, healthier, easier to digest versions, each one with a different promise. And then came the wave of plant-based milks. First as an alternative, and then suddenly as a trend. Out of nowhere, what used to be a 10-second choice became a mental comparison of ingredients, calories, and even texture. The problem is that with so many options, the packaging started competing with each other. One promises energy, another promises lightness, another says it helps with workouts, and the person standing there, tired after a long day, just wanted to put something in the cart without overthinking it. All that noise creates the impression that there's a perfect milk, when the truth is, the only thing that exists is the milk that makes the most sense for your lifestyle. And that's exactly why understanding what really matters before even looking at the shelf makes all the difference.
Ever feel drained halfway through your workout? I used to struggle with energy and slow recovery. Then I found this fast-acting nitric oxide booster. It increases nitric oxide by 200% in just 20 minutes. Just mix, drink, and get moving, so simple. I noticed better circulation and more stamina almost instantly. If you want quicker results, this is a game changer. Try it now and feel the difference in your next session.
Before you start comparing labels, there's something almost no one does, but it completely changes the way you choose your milk, thinking about your own goal. It sounds simple, but a lot of people grab the most popular milk, or the cheapest one, or the one that looks the healthiest without considering what they actually need in that moment of life. For example, if someone works out early and feels hungry right after, they might need something more filling. Someone trying to reduce calories may look for a lighter option. And anyone who constantly feels that heavy sensation in the stomach after breakfast probably needs to pay attention to digestion, not calories. Another important point is understanding how your body reacts. Everyone handles lactose, fat, and even texture differently. Some people feel great with plant-based milk and don't even realize it. Others drink whole milk their entire life and only discover later that the morning discomfort was coming from it. When you start noticing yourself a little more, the choice becomes clearer, almost automatic. And once you organize these criteria, then it's worth diving into the different types of milk. That's when everything really starts to make sense. Whole milk is that familiar option most of us drank our entire lives without thinking much about it. It keeps the milk's natural fat, and that's exactly what gives it a richer texture and a stronger flavor. And even though a lot of people cringe when they hear the word fat, it actually plays an important role. It increases satiety. That means that for someone who wakes up really hungry or needs steady energy in the morning, whole milk can be a helpful ally. I've noticed this myself. During periods of more intense training, I always started my day feeling much better with a smoothie made with whole milk than with lighter options. Well, on the other hand, that same fat can be an issue for anyone trying to reduce calories or who has slower digestion. Some people feel a bit of heaviness in the stomach right after drinking it, especially on an empty stomach. And that's why whole milk isn't better or worse, it's only ideal when it fits your personal goal. For someone trying to gain muscle, increase energy intake, or feel fuller early in the day, it works really well. Now that you understand whole milk, it's worth comparing it with the opposite version. Skim milk is pretty much the opposite of whole milk. Here, the fat is removed, and that changes a lot. It becomes lighter, less creamy, and of course, much lower in calories. That's why it became the favorite of people trying to lose weight or keep milk in their daily routine without overdoing it. Many people choose skim milk because they want a leaner approach, especially those who drink milk several times a day in coffee, smoothies, shakes, or oatmeal. All these small choices add up over the week. But this lightness comes with a price. It usually offers less satiety. It's the kind of milk that satisfies you in the moment, but doesn't keep you full for long. And depending on the person, this lack of satiety can actually get in the way of weight loss because the body ends up asking for more food soon after. I had been through that myself. During a phase when I wanted to cut calories, skim milk seemed the perfect choice, until I realized my hunger came back way too fast. In the end, skim milk is ideal for anyone who wants to reduce calories without giving up milk in their daily routine. But for someone who needs more energy or a more filling first meal, it might not be the best option. Lactose-free milk ends up being a lifesaver for a lot of people who always felt a strange discomfort after drinking regular milk, but never understood why. In this version, the lactose, which is the natural sugar in milk, is already broken down before it reaches your stomach. That's why it tends to feel lighter and doesn't cause that bloating, gas, or heavy sensation some people get right after breakfast. And the funny thing is that many people only realize they have a mild sensitivity when they decide to test lactose-free milk for a few days. The flavor changes a bit too. Since the lactose is broken down into simpler sugars, lactose-free milk tastes slightly sweeter. It's nothing overwhelming, but you can notice it, especially in coffee. For those who are used to it, it becomes just a small detail. For someone trying it for the first time, it can be a surprise. Now, one thing is important to make clear. If you don't have any sensitivity, you don't need to choose lactose-free milk thinking it's automatically healthier. It's not superior, it's simply more appropriate for people who feel discomfort with regular milk. For anyone with a busy morning routine who needs something lighter, it can be a perfect choice. When we get to the practical part, that's when everything finally starts to make sense. Because at the end of the day, it's no use memorizing the characteristics of each type of milk if you freeze up when it's time to actually put something in your cart. And I've been in that situation more than once, standing in front of the shelf, holding two completely different options, thinking, okay, but which one actually matches what I need right now? The first tip is simple, almost silly, but it works. Think about your goal before you even look at the label. If you're trying to control calories, you already know that full-fat versions might not make much sense. If your goal is to build muscle, then a milk with a bit more protein might be your best ally. Just that mental filter alone eliminates half of the indecision. Another thing that helps is considering how you use your milk. A lot of people forget this. If it's for coffee, maybe you prefer something that froths better. If it's for smoothies, you might want to go with the creamier option. I only realized oat milk made my coffee creamier after testing it without any expectations, and it became my favorite for a long time. In the end, the right choice isn't the best in the world. It's the one that fits your life today. Tomorrow, if your routine changes, your choice changes too, and that's totally fine. One thing most people don't realize is that the best milk isn't a fixed title. It changes as you change, and that's completely normal. In fact, it's actually healthy. Our goals aren't static. Sometimes we want to slim down a bit. Sometimes the goal is to build strength. And other times, the focus is simply to feel our digestion working better. And the milk that works for you today might not be the one that works 3 months from now. I've gone through this myself a few times. There was a period when I was training harder and ended up choosing versions that were higher in protein. Later on, during a busier phase, I preferred more practical options, even plant-based ones, because they fit better into my routine and didn't feel heavy. And the funny thing is that adjusting like this didn't make me lose consistency. It actually made everything easier. That's why it's worth revisiting your choices from time to time. Ask yourself, is my goal still the same? Has my body changed? Has my routine changed? This simple self-check helps you avoid that feeling of doing everything right without seeing results. At the end of the day, choosing the ideal milk is a living process. Once you understand that adjustments are a natural part of the journey, food becomes an ally, not an obligation. There comes a point when we realize we've been grabbing the same milk at the grocery store simply out of habit. And that's okay. Familiarity gives a sense of comfort. But there are moments when trying new options can open the door to something that fits better with the stage of life you're in right now. It's not about food trends. It's about smart curiosity. Sometimes your own body gives little signs that it might be worth trying something different. Maybe it's that mild discomfort after meals, a stubborn bloating, or even the feeling that your breakfast just isn't sitting as well as it used to. I remember when I felt that way, and without expecting much, decided to try a plant-based milk for the first time. The change was subtle, but it felt so good that it naturally became part of my routine. Another moment to experiment is when your goals shift. If you start training harder, it makes sense to look for milk with more protein. If you're focusing on lighter digestion, options with less fat or plant-based versions might work better. And of course, there's the simple desire to switch things up, which is also a perfectly valid reason. Trying something new doesn't mean abandoning what you're used to. It just means giving your body the chance to respond even better. Sometimes the difference is as small as testing a new carton. At the end of this whole journey, one thing becomes really clear. There's no such thing as a perfect milk that works for everyone. What actually exists is the milk that makes sense for you, for your body, your goals, and your current moment in life. And honestly, that's the most freeing part to understand, because it takes away that pressure of feeling like you need to follow strict rules or choose whatever everyone else is choosing. The truth is, good nutrition is the one that works in real life. If a certain type of milk helps you feel better throughout the day, fits your workouts, doesn't cause discomfort, and still fits your budget, then that's the right milk. As simple as that. And yes, that can change. We change. Our routines change. Our bodies respond differently. Adjusting your choice over time isn't a sign of insecurity, it's a sign of maturity. I've been through all these phases myself, and I learned that listening to your own body avoids a lot of frustration. Sometimes the difference you're looking for isn't in some complicated diet, but in a small swap, like that carton you never really paid attention to. If you finish this video understanding that the best choice is the one that helps you live better today, then it was worth it, because that's how food becomes your ally, not an obligation. Before you go, let me ask you something real quick. If this video helped you in any way, even if it just made it easier to choose your milk at the grocery store without freezing up, go ahead and hit the like button. It tells YouTube the content is valuable and helps the channel grow a lot. And hey, if you like this kind of simple, practical explanation, almost like a conversation right there in the grocery aisle, then subscribe to the channel. Every week there's a new video to help you take better care of your health without complicating your life. Oh, and turn on the notifications so you don't miss anything. All right, quick and easy. Thanks for staying until the end. See you in the next video.